Short-Term Rental Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is going to be focused on getting return guests and why those guests actually mean more profit and higher margin business for you. So a couple of questions, is how do you get return guests? And we're going to talk about that in depth. And then secondly, are they more profitable? And the answer is yes. You can make more profit on them. Short answer, because you're going to be avoiding those booking fees that are charged by the major channels. The customers can actually pay more to you, less overall, and everybody's happy. So we're going to discuss how that is possible today. All right. So first things first, let's talk about how do you do this? Because if you can't get the guests to return to you and book future stays, then it doesn't really matter if it's more profitable or not, because you're not going to have those reservations to begin with. All right. So step one, if you want return guests, is you have to ensure the first time they stay with you is a very positive experience. So, just the, short-term rental basics here. Make sure your place is immaculate and clean. Make sure everything is as advertised. You want to make sure they're very happy with those accommodations. Make sure you always have good linens, good sheets, good towels. Oh man, new towels go such a long way with customers. And, make sure it's a pleasant experience. So next, you've done all that. You want to have great communication with your customers. All right. Checking in with them, be prompt. When they send you a question, you want to get back to them right away. I personally try to answer most of our questions within the first 30 minutes, preferably within the first 5 minutes, but definitely within the first 30 minutes. Unless it's late at night, they're going to get a response back from me relatively quickly. All right. You have good communication, you answer your customers, and you be honest with them, and they are going to want to do business with you because they will find you trustworthy, and they're going to find that it's easy to do business with you. Make sure to always use positive language with your guests. Try to avoid using any negative language at any time. Even if some guests can be a little frustrating, always keep it a positive experience for them. All right, step 3. All right, this one can be a little challenging on the platforms, but I want to make sure you provide consistent branding, because every time you speak with a customer, you have the opportunity to brand your company name or brand your actual short-term rental. If you've seen some of my other podcasts, we talk about branding. I'll probably do one specifically just on this because it could really go in depth. I mean, there's college courses that take entire semesters to go over branding. But, essentially on branding, for me, everything is my company, Irvie Homes. Anytime I respond to an email, it's, thank you for staying at Irvie Homes. If I am on a phone call, this is Carl Vidal with Irvie Homes. On all the literature in the house, I've got my company logo on it. I want them to know they're staying at an Irvie home. And this goes for all of our properties. So the bigger we get, the more guests we have per week. And every single one of those is seeing Irvie Homes on every single listing. Even on my Airbnb descriptors, a lot of people will say, oh, giant house, great summertime place. For me, I don't do that. I really follow the same branding that's been done by major hotels for decades. You don't see a Marriott or a Hilton putting their advertisement on the website of amazing pool and come stay here and 3,000 square feet. Rather, when you look at hotel brandings, they constantly have that Marriott logo or the Inn Suite or the Holiday Inn. They use that branding because it is consistent, it's repetitive, and it gets repeat business. And that is where the money is at. All right, so you've got that repeat business. You want to make sure, as the fourth step here, that you set up a social media page for your company, for your Airbnb. Now, this could be a Facebook page. It could be an Instagram page. Instagram's wonderful for short-term rentals. It gives you a great platform to show off your photos, right? But you want to have somewhere where you can send people. And the reason is when that person checks out, as part of your checkout message, you're going to tell them, hey, John, thank you so much for staying with us. We greatly appreciate you, and thank you for keeping the house in great condition. We're a small business here, and we are growing. We would be very appreciative if you could follow us on social media at Irvie Homes. And then I'll tag my company's Facebook page in there, and they can just click on it and follow us on social media. All right. So that way you have a way to communicate, not just right now during their stay, but once they join your Facebook group, you get that ongoing communication. They're going to see your posts. They're going to see new photos. They'll see new properties. They're going to see all of that. And it's because you just simply took a couple of minutes to set up the page and then a couple of minutes to invite the guests to follow your company. And you'll be shocked at how many of your guests are actually going to follow your company and support your business. It's amazing how many people will support small business in this country and how loyal customers they become. All right, step 5, keep it personal. And I mean that. When you're talking to your guests, all right, get to know them. When they call and say, hey, I can't figure out how the TV remote works, solve their problem. Be very positive about it. Get the problem solved, and then ask them, how's your stay going? Where are you from? Don't be annoying. Don't keep them on the phone for hours, right? Read the room. But at the same time, you want to form that personal connection, because if they connect to you as a person, they will then connect to you as a business, and then they will be happy to spend money with you in the future. Now, I'm just a, very outgoing person. So for me, keeping it personal, very easy, because I actually genuinely care about people. I love talking to strangers. It's actually one of the reasons I got into this business. One day I'll tell you the story about Amsterdam and the personal connection I made with a hostel owner that just changed my life and made me want to get into this business. It's really incredible getting to know people, finding out where they're from, and all the stories and, just life that they bring with them. So that's a really good thing to have. I encourage you, keep it personal, really get to know them, let them get to know you, and you will get repeat business. All right. Next up, email marketing. Depending on the channel that they book through, you may get the customer's email. All right. If you get their email address, you should save this. And then you can actually use one of the mailers like MailChimp or one of the other ones to send out marketing emails on your behalf to bring new business in, to remind those customers, hey, remember you stayed at Irvie Homes, you should come back and stay again. We're offering this sort of discount. Or, here in Albuquerque, I'll use MailChimp to say, hey, Balloon Fiesta's coming up. Make sure you book now because it's going to book a year in advance, right? And we get those reservations and we use that email marketing to consistently brand again. We're going to have all that branding in there, remind them of who we are, but also just reach out to them with specials, loyalty perks, things like that. And that does bring us into our final point of how to get return customers is customer loyalty programs. All right. So you can actually offer discounts to them for being loyal. For me personally, I do give a discount to my loyal customers, and we can, put it in at 5% and say, this person, they treat our house well. We know them. We know we can trust them. We know they're not going to damage anything. Those are the customers we want, right? Every time we get a new customer, it's risk. We don't know if they're a good person. We don't know if they're going to take care of our property. We don't know anything about them. And that's risk. And I don't have the largest appetite for risk. So if I can get repeat dependable customers that we know that they pay on time, their money's good, they treat our homes respectfully, that is huge. And it's worth a discount to get them to come back. Plus, they're going to fill in that calendar and increase your occupancy percentage that ultimately is going to make you extremely profitable while you're doing short-term rentals. All right. So once you get all that, all right, we just kind of covered the ways you can get repeat customers. Now I want to talk to you about how to make it profitable. All right. As you may know, whether it is Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Expedia, all these companies, they make money off of you as a host. They charge you host fees for your listing. They also charge the guest booking fees. When you combine these fees together, depending on the platform, there is a 15 to 25% markup on the property, which means if you're putting it in at $100 a night, the customer is paying $115 to $125 a night. And that extra $15 to $25 is going to the platform for booking the reservation. All right. If you're getting direct bookings, if they come back to you and book on your website directly, for example, with me, they can book on irviehomes.com, right? They go to my website, they book direct, and I can charge a little bit more. All right. So on my direct site, I might charge, $107 a night. However, it's still cheaper than what they are going to pay by booking through Airbnb or VRBO or any of those others. They've got to pay $125 a night to book there, or they can book for $107 a night for me. Now, obviously, this is relative. We're talking percentages, so it could be $214 a night versus $250 a night. But the key is you're making 7% more profit by getting the customers to book to your website directly. All right. There's lots of options out there for looking at websites, and you're more than welcome to, reach out to me, message me. I'm happy to answer those questions and show you what is available and kind of some of the decisions I made for my company and the route we went for our website, because there's so many options. And I swear I must have spent probably 500 hours, it seems. I spent a good half a year evaluating companies before I finally chose my company that hosts all of my things. This is an example of my website. Looks very similar to any of the platforms. A guest can enter in their dates. They can enter in how many people, whether they have pets. They click the button, it quotes them a rate, and they can book it right there. Doesn't even require me to do anything. They can just book it anytime they want. All right. So if you don't have a direct website yet, something I strongly recommend you consider because it can make you significant amount of money. All right. So yesterday I posted on a few different social media platforms on questions, but we're going to go to a couple of the questions that I got preemptively from the chat groups yesterday. So question number one was asked, how do I obtain a guest's email address? As you may know, if you're booked through Airbnb, they actually use a dummy email address that first goes to Airbnb, and then Airbnb sends that message to the customer. So you never actually get the customer's email address. This can be challenging. So, one of the things, if you have a rental contract, you can ask the customer directly for their email address, and you can then forward your rental contract to them, and that's one way to get it. I don't necessarily do that. It doesn't always, end up in the best engagement. However, sometimes I do. And if I do come across the email address for Airbnb, I will mark it down and I'll have that. You have to be extremely careful here, though. You can't just mark it to everybody's email address. They do have terms and conditions, which actually is the second question here that came up. What are the major platform contact policies? So you have to be careful with the email address. You're not allowed to just market endlessly, especially on Airbnb, and they're all different. So I do encourage you, check your terms and conditions. VRBO, much more flexible on contact information. Airbnb can be very stickler on that. And they have terms and conditions that prevent you from spamming your customers, which I would never recommend anyways. So be very cautious here with the email addresses. Make sure you're doing it in a professional manner. Make sure you have a do not contact list and that you're following all of the rules there. All right. So with that, I'm going to go here. This is the short-term rental marketing podcast. We greatly appreciate if you like, share, and follow this content. Every month we're putting out videos, multiple videos per month, and we're trying to help you gain more revenue. While you're doing that, huge payment to me, a thank you. If you could like, share, and follow this content, comment on it. We love your comments. Very engaging and helps me to actually prepare the right material on what I'm going to put out there next. Well, thank you very much for joining today's podcast. Thank you very much for joining the episode. Greatly appreciate you. Go be a wonderful host. Go get those repeat customers and go maximize your money. Talk to you next week. Have a good day.